Good morning to all my sweet souls out there. I hope you're well. Welcome to episode 14 of Resilience Live. This is a weekly show that I do on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I talk about all things to do with personal resilience, well-being, growth, success at home, in your personal life, in your work life. And if you're new to this series and you haven't seen any episodes, you can find them all. The easiest place to find them is on YouTube because they're just stacked up really nicely there for you to go through. So if you're watching live, that's great. And if you watch another time, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. That's also great. And, feel free to put your comments in if you watch later as well. And if you're new to me and you keep seeing me looking like this in different directions, it's because I have some of my platforms in front of me and some of my platforms or Instagram is to the right on my phone. So I do just have to turn my head a little bit. So I always give it a couple minutes just to see if anyone is joining live. I can't always see who's there because the system I use doesn't tell me who's watching on all platforms. So if you are there and you can tell me that you're there, that would be great. And just to share a little bit before we get into this topic about these sessions, it's really just a conversation. Those of you who know me will know that I can talk for a long time about things, and I love that. I can just gabble on. But I love the conversation side of it. When people comment, when people share, when people subscribe and like, and people comment and say what their opinion is on the topic that I'm discussing, what their experiences are, any questions that you may have. If you put them in the comments, that's awesome because then it gives me more to go off and it makes it a little bit more interactive because as much as I like the sound of my own voice, even I get a little bit bored of it. So I like to have other people's voices in the mix, sharing your thoughts, your experiences, questions, so that we can have a real dialogue. And that's also really helpful because everything I do is really about community and doing this together. Yes, I'm a teacher. Yes, I teach, I speak. But really, whenever I teach and speak, a lot of the gold comes from the people in the conversation with me. You may have a question or a scenario or something to share, and it's your voice that has the impact on other people who watch this, not mine. It's your question, it's the way you articulate things. So it's not just about me, it's about everybody having a conversation together. That's what makes it most helpful for everybody, whoever watches this now, later, in a year. Who knows who might come and see this? And your comment might be the thing that really helps them. So I'm always up for really being open and sharing and having the conversation because we do this together, be of service. I do this as a service to myself because I just love doing it, and I also do it as a service to you because I hope it helps you. But when you engage in something, you can also always be of service, whether that's engaging in this live stream, engaging in a project, engaging in something at home. It's always nice to come from a place of service. Get out of your own way. I spoke about this in episode 13 last week, so if that resonates, do go and watch it. But it's really about coming at everything from a service perspective, that we all have gifts to share, thoughts to share, experiences to share. And when you share those, you're doing a much greater service to everybody. So it's a really nice thing to do. So if at any point you do have questions, thoughts, experiences, comments, particularly on this topic, because this is a big one. This one is about God, faith, spirituality, and how it helps in terms of your resilience, your well being, your success, happiness, progress in life. And before I was doing it, I was like, oh, I've picked like the most existential, unexplainable topic. Like, what words do I use? Because it's very like, woo, what is it? But it's also one of my favorite topics because I love that kind of thing. I love that kind of conversation. I love the mystical. I love the magical. I love the unknown. I love the non-physical. Like, that's just what I live for. So yeah, I don't know what's going to come out, to be honest. I have some thoughts to share. And I really wanted to share my own experience of this topic because, especially when it comes to something like God, faith, spirituality, it's a very personal thing. It's your experience. It's not about me sitting there saying, this is how it should be for you. No. And that's why I didn't put the word religion in here. I don't have anything against religions. I actually think that at the root of every religion is the same seeking, the same answers, the same truths about God, about spirituality, about faith. But religion, unfortunately, for many people, not for everybody, and if it works for you, go for it. But it can have a lot of connotations, and it can put people off. And religion, I think, in many ways, for many people, has become a tool for control, and has really obscured the true message of God and spirituality and faith. So that's why I didn't put religion in here. But if religion is your path to God and spirituality and faith, that's amazing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm also just aware that many people have bad experiences of religion, and that therefore puts them off. And I speak to many people who, when they were young, and it's a little bit similar to me, but didn't put me off, but religion is used as a doctrine, as a method of rules, as a method of fear and control. And it was never a pleasurable experience. So I know people who grew up with really strict religious control, parenting, and so on, and it actually put them off. So when they get older, they're like, oh God, oh God. You say God, and they're like, oh God. And I'm like, interesting, right? But I'm actually going to start with that. I'm going to share with you my experiences of religion and God when I was younger. So I was brought up Hindu. And so when I was young, we used to go to the temple every week, and I would go to the temple as a little kid, and I would see like pictures of all the Hindu gods. And if you're Hindu, you may know, or even if you're not, you may know that we have a lot of different gods that are all different colors, and one has 8 arms, one is a monkey, one is an elephant, one is blue skin, one is black skin, we got all different types of gods. And I used to go to the temple and see these pictures and be like, I didn't really know what it was. And then at the front you'd have the altars type thing with the statues of the gods, and again they're all dressed up in all different shapes and things. And I'd go up and we'd go and do a little prayer. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just copying everyone else. I was like, I didn't say anything. I was like, everyone's doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. So I was like, okay, we do this here. And I never really understood it. I didn't understand the language. It was never really taught to me what this was all about. And then as I grow a little bit older, my next memory of God being uttered or used actually was a really bad one. And it was I was a little child, and I think something had come up where there was a little joke coming up with my siblings, and it was Pinky has a boyfriend, Pinky has a boyfriend. And all I remember is my mom looking down at me, pointing a huge finger. I was tiny. I didn't even know what boyfriend was. Didn't understand. I was like probably 7 or something, 6, 7, I don't know. And she goes, God will punish you if you have a boyfriend. And I was like, oh. I just remember being terrified. But the interesting thing when I look back at that is I already had the awareness and the ability to perceive the truth, which was that God won't punish me. I didn't associate that punishment with God. She used the word God, as God is often used as a method of control and shame and fear, which is why people run away from it. And so she used that word, but what she was really telling me was the human message, which is you'll get punished because in our culture you don't do that, girls don't do that, boys don't do that, kids, blah, 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 blah. And it's more like, well, the men will punish you, the culture will punish you, the adults will punish you. But she used the word God. So I remember that experience, and the shame and the fear about relationships stuck with me to this day. And then they wonder why I'm still not married and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't actually equate it to God, which I'm really pleased I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. I was able to discern in that moment that in some way I already knew God was not a punishing being. Whatever it is, it's not a punishing thing. And then later in life, I guess the other memories about God is that I did used to pray, particularly when I was going through something hard. I would just pray for help to just get through this. And I think it helped. Is it a placebo? I don't know, but I don't think it was. But it helped. But I never knew what I was praying to. I didn't have an image of a god in my mind. Even the Hindu gods, I didn't know half the names at that time. But the thing is, I've always had this thing that there's something greater, there's something more, there's something profound, existential, beautiful, mystical, magical, loving oneness that is there, that is holding me, that is guiding me, that is the creator of all existence, that is running through me, that is part of me. It's not separate from me. God is not this being up there going, "Rah, rah, rah." God is love, God is oneness, God is power, God is intelligence, pure consciousness, pure energy, pure being. And what more words I could put on it still wouldn't explain it, because God is not of the human mind and the words. It's a completely different dimension. And so that's really where I'm at with it. So I don't define myself as a religion of any type, of Hindu or anything like that. I'm brought up Hindu. I relate to those teachings. I listen actually quite a lot to Christian teachings. So you got lots of like pastors in America. It's a big thing where you get pastors speaking in like there's big theaters or like stadiums with thousands of people, and they're preaching the word of God. And some of those I watch now, and they talk about Jesus. I believe Jesus is there too. I believe Jesus was a messenger too, and awakened and enlightened too. And I listen to those things, and I get messages that resonate with my heart. I go into Buddhism, I go into all sorts. I don't have a religion, but I believe every religion is pointing us to a truth that I think in current society we've actually lost touch with, which is why we're in such a mess. And it's that reverence to something greater. It's that reverence to who we truly are, and knowing that something greater created us and created all of life, and having a reverence to that. So, reverence, I think, means a fear. I can't remember it now, to be honest. It's something like a fearful respect or something like that. And it's not fearful in that, oh God, God's going to punish me. It's like a respect for this greatness, right? Of like, oh, I bow down to that. I bow down to that. But not in a situation where I take my power away and say, I'm so small and meek and I bow down to God. It's like, oh, I bow down to that. I respect that. And I know it's guiding me, and I know it's in me, and I know it's there, and I love it, and I appreciate it, and I want to be one with it. So that for me is really what God, faith, spirituality is about. It's about the soul. And people say that we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I resonate with that so deeply. And so it's about connecting to your spirit and your soul. It's about connecting to that part of you that is not physical, and it's not your mind and your beliefs and your identity and who you think you are. It's not your body. It created all of that, and it animates that. So to me, God is the spirit that animates Pinky. God is the spirit that channels through me whatever it wants to experience and create in this world. And so for me, having that is my way as well of getting out of my own way and letting that throw through me. I'm not doing life. Life is doing me. I'm not doing it. Life is doing it. I try and do it, and when I try and do it, I mess it up. So that's why I'm like, raise up into God, let life do you. That's the power of that kind of faith and spirituality and connection to something greater. I'm going to share with you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on Instagram. You can sort of see it in the top of the screen, and you probably won't be able to see it, but on the top of my wall up there, it says up there, you can't read it, I'm just going to read to you. It says, "You are not the chef, you are the carrot peeler." So that's how I live life. The chef is up there in here, all abundant, omnipresent, I think is the word. That's the chef. The chef is cooking. The chef knows the recipe. The chef knows the menu. The chef knows my path. The chef knows what is put in me and what is here to be expressed. The chef's doing all of that. There's the chef. And the chef says to me one day, peel the carrot. I just peel the carrot. Then I get the next wisdom. The chef says, cut the potato. I cut the potato. I don't need to know the bigger plan, how it's going to work out. How do I make this happen? How do I get my life the way I want it to be? I surrender that to the chef. And I don't need to know, and I'm not going to know. I just take the intuitive wisdom and guidance from that which I call God, spirit, oneness, higher self, whatever. And I use that to guide me. And then I surrender the rest to God. And so that I think is also really helpful, because if you think of yourself as this little being that has to make your life, it's all on you, it's all on you to make your life the way it needs to be, to get over your problems, to heal with your traumas, to get the job you want and to succeed and to have everything and be safe and be secure. it's so limited and misguided and small and puny and weak compared to what you're really part of, which is a beautiful divine cosmos, a dance of intelligence that has created galaxies and ants and the ocean and every cell in your body and every atom. And it's like a natural intelligence that is flowing and creating and made you too and made me too. And in my view, it's like if God, a supreme intelligence, made me, then I must be pretty awesome. Like, I'm surrendering to that. He knew what he was doing. When you insult yourself and think there's something wrong with you and you're doing something wrong, you're insulting the supreme creator. And I don't think that's wise. If the Supreme Creator can create galaxies and millions of species on this planet that we can't even comprehend how this all happened, I think he knows what he's doing. I say he, don't take that in any way you want. I just use the word he. It doesn't mean a gender to me, it's just whatever. But I think he knows what he's doing. It's supreme intelligence. My puny little intellect in my brain can't do that or comprehend that or recreate that. So it's like if that made this planet made me too, then you got me, man. I'm surrendering to that because you clearly know what you're doing. You're saying if you think you're a mistake in any way, you're saying God makes mistakes. I don't think God makes mistakes. And so that again is another way that this connection really brings me into presence. Oh, hello, Pavla. Let's just take a comment here. My sweet soul, long time no see. How are you? I hope you're doing very well, my lovely. Let life do you. That's a good one. So true. And that's a nice little rhyme. Let life do you. That's a good one. So true. I love it. But yes, let life do you. Life goes through you. So when you're in a low state of consciousness and you're not connected to that oneness, you think life happens to me. When you raise up a little bit to the human intellect, you go, life happens by me. I have an agency, I have an impact. When you raise up into God consciousness, then it's life happens through me. So life happens to me, life happens by me, life happens through me. And when you surrender to that, you're on the next magical level of experience. And the freedom, the breaking out of your shackles mentally, physically, emotionally, that just goes and you step into your true power and you are free and you are light and you are surrendered to the intelligence that is making life happen. Because think about the acorn. The acorn has within it the blueprint for an oak tree. Who designed that? Whatever you want to call this thing, God, whatever I call God, consciousness and intelligence. And then when the acorn grows and flourishes into the tree, what is the life force that is creating that process and opening up and flourishing into the tree? It's that same supreme intelligence. So life is doing it. And life is doing you too. God designed your blueprint, and God is directing your life and your unfolding and your growth and your fullest expression, just like the tree, to grow into who you were meant to be and who you were always designed to be. The divine design is there. You just got to stop getting in the way. A tree doesn't grow and then go, oh no, I can't grow anymore. Oh no, look at me, my branch is wonky. Oh no, I don't know how to do it. It just surrender, let life flow. Let life flow and grow. And the same is what you can do. Let yourself unfold and be guided by the divine intelligence. Stop getting in your own way. Stop stopping yourself from growing and saying, oh no, I've got to figure it out. I don't know how to do it. And I'm not good enough. Let it go. Let that energy animate you in the same way that it animates the ocean and the ants and the planets and the sun that are spinning in such amazing perfection that you can't even grapple with it. It is in you too. So let it do you, as Pavla says. And you will experience, thank you, Pavla, my sweet soul, you will experience another level of life. And to me, that's what it's about. The creativity, the genius, the ideas, the flow, when you get into those moments of alignment and sync in your life, that's God, faith, spirituality in action. Faith is an interesting one. I heard faith recently described as being the opposite of fear. And faith is something like belief in things not yet seen. So holding faith in your God consciousness vision, if you've connected to that, like I have visions of who I, in my expression, am here to be. And I hold, it's not here yet, it's coming, it's in forms. But holding faith to that is really, really powerful. So faith is knowing that it's all going to be okay. Faith is knowing that it's all unfolding as it's meant to be. Faith is knowing that you're held and supported and looked after. Through all the stuff I've been through in my life, I've always been caught. When I've fallen, something has caught me. Life has caught me. When I felt like, oh my God, everything's going crazy, something kept me going. What is that? It wasn't me in my head trying to be like, oh, keep going. It was this here. And that's where God lives. That's where pure energy, pure consciousness, pure love, pure spirit, pure intelligence, that's where it radiates from, that's where it lives. You know, the electromagnetic field of your heart is something like 60 times greater than that of your brain. This is the center of you. This is the center of God. This is connection with that oneness, with that higher intelligence. And that's where you want to reside. And I think about the challenges I had in my childhood. You know, on paper, it's horrible. And I should have gone down a really bad road. And my little body and my little mind couldn't sustain me through such pain and trauma. But something else sustained me and kept me going and meant that I'm still here. What was that? To me, it's God. To me, it's that. To me, it's the chef. The chef has a recipe for my life and he knows what it is. So he's going to keep me going as long as I need to be here in whatever form to make the recipe. And I don't know the recipe. I don't know how long it needs to cook. I don't know the ingredients. I just know that every now and then I stay true to that. I stay faithful to that. I stay true to the vision I see from that place. Imagination is the language of God, by the way. Imagination is the language of God. We think that imagination is for children and fickle little, oh, dreaming stuff. Imagination is the language of God. It is not a fickle faculty. It is the faculty. It is your highest state of consciousness. It is a super conscious state. Unconscious, fight or flight, animalistic, fear, stress. Conscious, aware of yourself, your identity, bit logical, bit rational, aware of other people. Super conscious, bust all that out the window. I'm going into the cosmos for supreme intelligence and wisdom. Einstein said it. Nikola Tesla said it. Da Vinci said it. Leonardo da Vinci. They all went to that place of superconscious intuition, imagination, visualization, receiving wisdom from the cosmos, which is what we call the quantum field, where everything that ever existed and will exist is already there. That's your level you can go to. But maybe there's more levels. I don't know. That's the one I'm working with right now. And that is the place of God. Imagination is the language of God. What you see from that place, what you receive in your heart, those intuitive knowings, those ideas, that creativity, that sensing, that pull towards certain things that you love, that's God helping you go in the right direction to express who you are always meant to be, giving you ideas, giving you creativity. Don't ignore your imagination. Use visualization. Use that state to receive, to see. It starts there, then we manifest it here. Everything starts in the imagination, then we manifest it in reality and we take the actions. So that's almost you going up there and getting a bit of the recipe, and then it comes down, okay, what's the action? Do a live stream, do a blog, make a phone call, go for a walk, whatever it is. That's living life through God, through that intuitive awareness, that higher consciousness, not through the little mind that says, well, my belief is that world works like this, so I can only achieve this and I can't do that and blah blah blah. Not through fear, which is even lower, which is just stress and reactive and fight or flight. It's about living life from a superconscious state, bringing it down. This is what we call the alchemical process. Well, there's a bit more to it, but essentially that's what I believe, I feel and I experience to be true. So Oh, we got a little comment here from Alex. Hello, my darling. Yay, so true, Pinky. Love that you're doing this. I love that you're here and sharing it with me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Alex. Yeah, like, this is one of my favorite topics, right? And it was a hard one at the start because of my little brain that goes, oh, how you going to talk about something so, but I rose up into it. I'm going into super conscious, like whatever comes out, comes out. It's not my job to know. When you're creating and contributing in life, it's not your job to know what that creation is then going to do and how, blah, blah, blah. No, you put it out and then you leave. God told me peel a carrot, done. Now give it back. Now you cook it. I don't know what you do with it. Who's going to watch this? Who's going to get what? I don't know. It's not my job to know. My job is to create. You are a conscious creator. You are a creative being and you receive ideas and wisdom and you create, you put out, and then you let it be. You do it from your heart. If you do it from here, you're going to create all sorts of nonsense. But you do it from your heart and then you let it be. Put out a piece of content, let it go to the cosmos. It's not up to you. When you think about life, the fact that one person can cross a street at a certain time to avoid that car, and one person gets on that bus at that time and goes to that shop, which happens to mean that they meet the love of their life in that shop at that very specific moment. And then what is this beautiful dance of orchestration of just unbelievable magic? That's God. And that has nothing to do with me. I can't make that happen and control that, blah, 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 blah. So surrender to that. I just take my next step. I just do what I can do, and then I surrender it to God to orchestrate the rest. And then I stay alert and aware and present and receive the wisdom, the intuition, receive the actions, receive what's going on around me in my physical reality. And then I go back into that place. And then it's a dance, it's a movement, it's a flow with energy, with consciousness, with higher consciousness, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you very much, Alex, for being here. And if you have any thoughts, I know you will have thoughts. Maybe if you want to share your view, God, faith, spirituality, what is it to you? I think the other thing I want to say, spirituality is not, oh, it's all love and light. Everything is love and light, and everything is beautiful. And now, spirituality is truth. God is truth. And do you know what truth is sometimes? Truth is ugly. Truth is hard. Truth is scary. Truth is truth. Truth isn't here to make you comfortable. Truth is also the darkness of your own self and of humanity. Truth is seeing that for what it is. So, spirituality for me is about wholeness as well. It's the shadow and the light. It's about, because we all have that, all within us, by the way. None of you or me are pure love and light. Yes, that's our heart, our soul is that. But we have an ego, we have a human identity, and that's a shadow. You can't be here without that. And that's your fears and your insecurities and your limitations and your blah, 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 which is how most people live, which is why we do destructive stuff on the planet to ourselves and each other, because you're living from the shadow, the one that needs power, control, the greed, the little insecure little you. You're so attached to your identity and your ego, you don't see the oneness, you don't come from truth. And most people live from that place, which is why we are where we are. So spirituality and God is about integrating that, realizing it's a part of you, but it's not you. As Einstein said, every time I go to make a profound quote, I can really feel myself messing up. I've got to stop this. I'm doing now. I'm creating that as well. But he said something like, um, the intuitive mind, which is to me the God consciousness, is a gift, and always the master, and the intellectual mind, the rational mind, the human mind is the servant. But we've got it the other way round. We prioritize intellect and put intuition way back. So we prioritize the human mind and put God consciousness on the back seat. That doesn't sound very wise to me. God created this entire cosmos. Do you know what? If I have a choice, I'm bringing him to the front. He's a supreme intelligence. And then my little piddly little brain over here can be like, okay, I serve the God consciousness. I serve the intuitive mind. I serve that oneness. I serve that vision. I serve that heart, that love, that soul, that creative intelligence. And I use my intellectual faculties and my body and my physical being to serve that and bring that into being in the physical world. not the other way around. Everyone else is doing the other way around. That's why we're in a mess. Little puny intellect and fear-based consciousness, which is our animalistic state, that's in the driving seat. They don't even know their God consciousness. They don't know who they are. They don't know they are supreme creative beings that are connected to all time and space. They don't know that. And so, or if they do, they ignore it. We ignore our intuitive hunches. We ignore our true authentic selves, what we love, what we want, our ideas, our creativity, because our intellectual mind then comes in and rationalizes them and pushes them down. So your heart says, oh, I'd love to do this. And your brain goes, no, you can't do that. And you let that lead. We got to switch it up. Soul, consciousness, God in front, intellect behind to serve the higher. That's the full expression. And that's what God, faith, spirituality, and living from that place is to me. Alex says, for me, spirituality is knowing there's something bigger than us, the energy of the universe. We are all connected. How beautifully articulated. Thank you, Alex. That is it. There is something bigger than us. And again, it's not, oh, it's bigger than me, and so I'm small and I'm scared and I'm weak. It's, oh, it's bigger than me, and isn't that amazing? Isn't that profound? Because again, this is where I think religion has gone and used God as a method of control and weakening the human. It's like, oh, I'm small compared to that. No, no, no. It created you. You're one with it. But also, wow. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to articulate that, but it is, and it's energy. Everything is energy. Quantum physics knows this. Science and ancient spirituality and wisdoms knows this. And the root of religions also know this. I heard the Bible described recently as a book of metaphysics. It's teaching you who you truly are and how to live. And the fact that everything is energy, as Alex said, everything is connected. We are all one. Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, because what you put out is coming back. Karma, cause and effect. Everything's coming back round. It's all one energy field. And this is spirituality and science meeting. And the thing is, when you look at people who study spirituality and science, they all come to the same answer from different angles, perhaps. So from spirituality, we're looking up and at the and we're going up that way. From science, we tend to go down the other way. Let me see the most minute aspect of existence and what are we made of, atoms and blah, 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 blah. And they both come to the same answer. One energy, one field, one consciousness, pure frequency, pure vibration, intelligence. And then we don't know. I'm sitting here saying all this. I don't know because you can't know. Can you know? I don't know. I just don't know. I could die and everything I've said here would be like, that was a load of nonsense, actually. Maybe when we die, we go somewhere else. I'm in the Matrix. I'm in a little, if you haven't seen the film, I'm in that little. That little pod being drained for my battery life. I mean, not for this topic, but literally we do live in a matrix anyway. But maybe we'll do that next time, if you want to go there. There is a matrix in your mind, your own constructs, your own belief systems, your own restricted little matrix. There's a matrix out there, the wider society, the cultural systems, the government systems, the financial systems. It's all matrix. But you are Neo. If you've seen the film, you will get that reference. You are Neo because you are God. You are a creator. You're not a bystander. You have the power to create your own matrix, to shift your matrix, to bust out of matrices that don't serve you and create your own. But to know that, to live that, you must be able to connect and go there and realize who you truly are and go beyond this and go beyond this and connect to that spirit, that energy, that one consciousness, that supreme intelligence that, as I said earlier, is living through you. That is what our modern culture has cut us off from. We don't worship any gods. Worship is a difficult word to not really keen on worship because again it implies, oh, you're bigger than me. But we worship, let's use the word for now, celebrity, technology, rich people, governments and leaders. We worship them and subordinate to them. And we have no connection to who we truly are. So we don't know our power. We are dumbed down, we're ineffective, live. We're living in a state of fear. We're getting sick. We don't go out in nature. We don't understand that we are nature, that we have more in common with life, with the trees, with the animals, which is also pure God consciousness in manifested form without the human intervention messing it up, although we mess up nature. But when you find it in its pure form, that's what's really possible. That's what we are. And we're so disconnected from that we've lost sense of God. And some schools in certain countries don't teach religion anymore to kids. And I can understand that in the sense that religion has now become such a thing and it's difficult and it's the source of wars and blah, blah, blah. But it does mean as well that children are not knowing or connected to something greater. That is there, in my view. And again, we become very physically focused. It shuts us down. It restricts us from who we truly are. It takes away our power. And I think our lack of connection to God, whatever that means for you, is the source of so many of our ills because we think we're so great. Look at people trying to recreate life with artificial intelligence and genetic engineering. And I'm not saying that tools and technology cannot serve us, but we don't have the wisdom to use them effectively because wisdom is from God and we don't have that connection. So we're doing it with our puny little intellect and our fear based minds. And then, in my view, it's like a chimp with an AK-47. We're creating carnage with it. But is science and technology without wisdom is carnage, and that's what we do. But if we have science and technology with wisdom, with God consciousness, we can use it to create wonderful things that can really, really help us. But we're not. We're using it to create bombs and wars and control mechanisms and financial systems that just serve a few, whilst other people can't pay their bills and feed their children. It's just happened recently in England. The pound has dropped massively because of something that was done here purposely. And a few people got very rich off of that, very rich off of that, and they knew they would. And then look at other people on the street who can't get new school clothes for their kids or feed their children or heat their homes. Where's the wisdom in that? We have no wisdom. We have no sense of that oneness that Alex just mentioned. We don't know God anymore. And it makes us small and selfish and stupid. Talking about me too, by the way. I'm not insulting anyone here, but I'm a human too, and I have those issues too. Hopefully, I would never do anything like what other people do, unfortunately, to put other humans in such a detrimental state when it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. There is no reason for us to live the way we live with so much suffering and pain. It's decisions that people make from low states of consciousness and ego, thinking that they are all and that they don't see the oneness, they don't care anymore about other people, or they're so consumed with their own stuff and their own ideas that they'll go to no end to make it happen. But it's not coming from God consciousness, and so it will never be in the highest good of all. When you receive wisdom and intuition and guidance and visions from God consciousness, from that superconscious state, it is always in the highest good of all. It's not about you. When I receive wisdom of, I want to teach, I want to speak, I want to write books, yeah, I love that process. But it's not about me. It's about what I'm contributing to the service that's going to help the whole. That's what it's about. It's not about you. But most people don't go there, which is why they do things that are about them that then actually destruct other people's lives. So that's why I think we are where we are, to be honest. We don't have that connection. And, I think people are getting it back. I think people are starting to question because we're living in this world where you work stupid hours, you're so stressed. Even with all the money you made, do you even get time to enjoy it? You're stressed, so you get sick. So now your health is messed up. What is it? I think it was the Dalai Lama who said, man, again, I'm messing up the quote, but it's something like man worships money or something, or makes money to then have a life, and then the health gets. Oh, that was useless. So just Google it. Google Dalai Lama man health quote, something like that. It's beautiful, but it basically just shows the absolute lack of wisdom in the way that we live because we're chasing these things that then actually kill us and make us miserable, and then we die. It's like, what was the point of that? And so, this lack of wisdom, I think, is is a problem, I think. So, hey, look, I've done 39 minutes of my thing, and that's all that really feels to be coming through right now. And it's a big topic. It's an existential topic, and it's not for everybody. And I say this for everyone, you are your own guru. Okay, if you watch this kind of thing, you're like, what's she chatting about? Weirdo. That's fine. You don't have to watch it, you don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it. But if it resonates with you, it may be something for you to explore if you're not already exploring it. But to me, this is a coming home. When I talk about God, consciousness, faith, higher self, spirituality, infinite intelligence, whatever this is me going back home. And I think that's where we all need to go. If we want life to be better for ourselves and others around us and on the planet and for animals and for nature, we must go back home because we're lost. Okay, we're going down this road over here. That's not our home, and that's why we create more and more nonsense and carnage. Let's go back home, and home is in the heart. Home is in God. Home is in realizing who you are as a beautifully divine, stunning, creative being, and in your true nature, you are loving. You care about others. You care about yourself. You want to support. You want to serve. You want to create. You're artistic. You're a creative being. You're thoughtful. You're smart. You're intelligent. You're genius. You are connected. You're empathetic. You care. And you're powerful. And you're wise. And you're strong. And you're smart. And you're loving. In our true nature, we are all these things. And that's home. Going back home to this consciousness helps you realize that, helps you see that again. And from that place, imagine what we can create for ourselves and others. So we're lost. We're on the wrong path. We're over here going to hell. Just going to say how I see it. And we're being guided by people who are lost and are taking us to hell. And because we've been dumbed down, because we don't know who we are, we just look up at them and go, oh, yeah. And maybe we insult them and say, well, this person made a bad decision. That leader messed something up. I'm not saying they didn't. But the more you place your power in them, the less you have your power in you. Forget them. The way I say it, I live in the matrix, but I'm not in the matrix. I'm in the system, but I'm not in the system. Okay, because we have to live in these structures. But in here, I'm on another plane as best I can be, not all the time, because I'm in it. I'm human, I'm growing, I'm evolving. I'm not there. I don't know if I'll ever be there, whatever there is. But I'm in the system that doesn't serve the highest good of all, but I'm not in the system, if that makes any sense to anybody. But it's really about stop giving your power away. God consciousness runs through you. God created you perfectionally, not the right word, perfectly, in perfection. And you are powerful. And you have gifts to share. You have talents. You have heart. You have soul. You have spirit. You have this consciousness, creative consciousness flowing through you that you can manifest and use as a magician. You are a magician of creative consciousness. You create reality. But you stop doing that when you look up as, oh, it's his fault, it's that fault. And be aware of it. All right, cool. We see what's going on. But stop giving your power. Come back home. But what do I want to create? How do I want to use my energy, my consciousness, my God connection to manifest my reality, to create things that are in the highest good of all, that also fill my heart as well as filling yours? That's where we want to go. And in my view right now, I'd say maybe 1% to 5% of the population is in that state and going in that state. And then there's probably a big chunk, not a big chunk, but a fair chunk below that are sort of starting to look at that because they're realizing that the way we function is just not serving us, particularly in the West. Look at what we're doing. The suicide, the illness, the mental illness, the physical illness. It's not normal. Look out in nature. Do animals do that? Do they create toxic environments and then wonder why they're dying? No, because they're smart, because they live through divine intelligence, and that divine intelligence is in you and is also smart, and it will guide you correctly. So it's about coming back home. And now look, I've done 45 minutes, so I'm gonna peace out and leave it there. But I hope that's given you something to think about. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, whether you do that live or later. Thank you for your beautiful comments, Pavla and Alex. So nice to see you here today. And yeah, go and immerse in that. If it gave you anything, simmer in that. If it didn't, that's also fine. I wish you well, wherever you are, whoever you are. Thank you so much for watching. And it's been an absolute pleasure to share this space with you. So take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week on Resilience Live, 11 a.m. UK time. Take care.